in our modern culture, it has become quite fashionable to honor victims, to stand up for them and protect them. And when there are real victims, I certainly can understand why we would do that. Being the victim means that you get special treatment, that you get exceptions to the rules, that you are allowed a different approach to life than anyone else. Now, women, it's always shocked me, or at least for the last 40 or 50 years, how it is that they are, at the same time, the majority of our population, the majority of our voting electorate, and still considered a special class, like a minority, in many of our laws. So today I want to talk a little bit about why it is women use the victim card so frequently in interpersonal relationships, and how you can identify a manipulative woman that you need to avoid who might be using this victim card as a way to manipulate you. Let's talk about it. My first experience with victim fraud, from a woman I guess, was when my little sister, probably at age 6 or 7, and I was a couple years older than her, used a threat that she would tell my mother that, this was extortion, that I had hit her unless I allowed her to do whatever she wanted to do. You know, I can't remember what it was, play with a toy, whatever. She wanted her way, and I obviously was in opposition to that, and she used that little bit of extortion to manipulate me. Well, I was too smart for her. I said, fine. She's my mom too. I know she will believe me. And so I went about my business. Well, before you know it, my mom comes storming into the room with my sister following right behind her, and she's all teary-eyed, like she's been abused and beaten and smacked and all this stuff. And my mother punishes me for hitting my little sister. Now, I had nothing to do with it. I was a complete victim of this victim fraud. I was the victim of the victim fraud. But this characteristic, this behavior, I think is inherent in women. And maybe it's because they're just physically weaker, I don't know. But she was a little girl when she did this to me. And I've seen this kind of behavior repeated throughout my life with older, more mature, allegedly, women, where they can tell people something terrible about you, and because they're a woman, because they're weaker and smaller and more childlike and innocent, people will believe their bullshit, and men will pay the price for it. I guarantee you that. I cannot tell you how many guys in the comments have said that their wife got a restraining order against them and they had never laid a finger on her, much less threatened her. So women are aware how to win the compassion and sympathy of the system. And they use their femininity, their smallness, their defenselessness as a weapon to control our culture and our society, and men in particular, but certainly the court system. This is a vestige of a time that doesn't exist anymore. Since the early 1970s, women have had all the legal protections that all men have. Like I said earlier, they are the largest voting bloc in the country. They control, if they wanted to, every district in the United States for voting, if they voted as a bloc. They have a lot of power, and yet they still act as if they don't. And they try to convince the rest of us that they don't. And they create alliances with men who are sympathetic to their cause and believe their bullshit in order to create laws, rules, standards that favor them across the board. The most common form of self-victimization is shifting blame to avoid responsibility, or avoiding responsibility by shifting blame. I think that might be the better way to put it. So here's the most common one that we see in, like on TikTok and that sort of thing, is where a married woman with children, doesn't work, gets on TikTok, and she starts complaining that her husband, despite the fact that he's the sole wage earner and he works some crappy hours and he spends a lot of time at work, doesn't help out very much around the house. That he sort of lets her down, and she's just busy all the time, just busy. She's got a baby, my God. She's got a baby at home. She wanted that baby. She knew what it cost to have a baby. And having been a single father myself for a long time, I can tell you from firsthand experience, taking home or taking care of a child at home alone is not that big a deal. I have been able to do it while watching football games and building models and walking dogs and having a lot of recreational time, you know? Meanwhile, I still am caring for this child. This child remains alive today. I have evidence that I survived, and so did he. So the idea that being a stay-at-home mom is a hard job has been, I don't know, infiltrated our cultural society, our cultural psyche, our zeitgeist. And so we give this role of the at-home mom like the same standard as a real job, and that they are under a lot of stress and they are suffering with it and it's so hard. Well, first of all, you wanted to have the damn child to begin with, number one. Number two, being with a child that's your own child, this is your own offspring, it's actually an enjoyable experience. You enjoy the opportunity to be there. As a father with my daughters, when I got older and they came along, I wasn't able to be there for a lot of their first things, you know, their first steps, their first words and all that stuff. And I kind of missed that. When my son was with him, I spent a lot more time with him because I was, you know, his only parent. You know, I was there for all that stuff, you know. So the opportunity to have that experience is the value of that experience. But because it does require a slight bit of inconvenience, women want to tell us that it is a hard job, and it just is not. And we have allowed them to get away with this bullshit forever. And people like Oprah, you know, and stay-at-home mom, hardest job in the world. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of crap. I'm sorry. Unless you got like a dozen kids, you are not working that hard. And I'll tell you what, there's women who do have all those kids. I've had a neighbor who had 8 kids. She had those kids like an army regiment, man. The older kids took care of the younger ones, and the younger ones took care of the younger ones, and they were all in uniform. I mean, they were like a system. They were a well-oiled machine. And that woman barely lifted a finger. She just gave commands. She delegated all of it. She did a great job. So the problem here is the woman has shortcomings. She's a selfish, entitled brat, basically. And she thinks that being a mother is going to give her some credibility in the world. Little does she realize that it's going to be inconvenient. It's going to be inconvenient. And you know, and if you're going to be in a single income household and the guy is going to be the one who's doing all the work, he's probably going to work some long hours, and quite honestly, he's going to be tired. I remember my wife giving me a bunch of shit when she wasn't working, staying home with babies, that I wasn't getting up in the middle of the night on a Tuesday night to take care of them. It's like, well, I got to get up at 7 a.m. to go to work, to feed everybody, to pay all this stuff, you know? And she was angry at me. That was a real issue, that I was not getting up in the middle of the night. And it's like, well, baby, I got places to go tomorrow. Like you can nap, okay? Like you can get up right now, get up with her in a few hours, feed her, and then you can take a nap for 2 or 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna nap as an infant, like every 3 or 4 hours, they're napping. Like it's not that hard a job. Most of the job of being a new mom, after feeding and changing and healing, I guess, I'll give her that, is napping. That is a big part of that job. And if you're not a good napper, then you know, shame on you. You just need to work on your napping skills. But yeah, we just let them get away with this for far too long. It's way too much. Another form of self-victimization is crying in the middle of a conversation. So let's say you're having a disagreement with a woman. Let's say she's your wife. let's say her position is not very defensible. She's trying to make an argument that just doesn't have any logical, rational basis. And so you are questioning her about her thoughts about this issue. It is clear that she's losing ground in this argument, and you're a gentleman, you're not going to press it hard, but you do want to make your point. You want to say, look, let's just try a different tactic here. Let's try something different. And then suddenly, she starts to cry. And I'm not just talking about crying. I'm talking about the dramatic, heaving, bawling, crying. She's just blasting you with tears. So now, it's all about, oh my God, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And then she starts telling you how mean you've been to her and how, you don't respect her. And now you're apologizing to her. And you're saying, I'm so sorry, honey, that's not what I was trying to say. I need you to understand this particular point. No, 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 you were just being mean to me. And now you're apologizing to her. When the argument, the initial conversation was about her doing something stupid to begin with. This is a meme. Like, this happens so frequently in marriages. Like, this should be like like one of those bumper stickers or something like that, because it happens so frequently, where you have a conversation with your woman, she starts crying in the middle of it, you start apologizing to her, she was wrong to begin with, and now you're apologizing to her. I don't understand how that happens, why it happens, or why we allow it to happen, but that's a dead giveaway of someone who's using victimization as a tool to manipulate you. So now, rather than her being on the back foot and having to readapt or readjust or even change her behaviors in some way, shape, or form, rather than that, she has now put you on the back foot, and you're the one who's trying to justify your behaviors and rationalize the way you're having a conversation and how you approach these problems. And now the issue isn't about what she was doing, it's about what you're doing. And yeah, you can never win that. Like that, once you go down that path, once that path has been started, your whole life will be like that. Because she will know that she can pull that on you at any moment. Anytime she disagrees with you, she can pull out those tears and call you mean. And next thing you know, you're apologizing and explaining and trying to become a better man, and she's got you by the short line. And she knows it. It's a pure manipulation. Last year I did a really great video on the damsel in distress and how we are, as men, so easily seduced by this archetype, and how she will use her distress, whatever it might be, as a way to manipulate us to get them to help, for us to help them. Well, when you add victimization to the damsel in distress, oh my God, you have, it's like a virtuoso of all the manipulations that a woman can pull on a man at the same time. Because now, not only is she in distress, but she knows who to point the finger at. And she probably already has a solution in mind. And that solution is going to require something from you. Don't be surprised if it's money. But this whole, I'm just a poor little girl, and look at what's happened to me, this person did something terrible, or this organization did something terrible, or they treated me bad at McDonald's, or whatever it might be, doesn't matter. You're now put in a position to do something about it. Now, you have a choice. A smart man sees through this bullshit and just walks away. He says, I'm sorry about your problem. Good luck with it. Let me know how it goes. Young men take up this mantle and they go, oh, I will help you. I will be there for you. What do you need me to do, baby? You just show me the way. I'll take care of these bad people because I'm a man and you're just a woman. And I will do this. And I have resources. I can make this happen. Yeah, this happens so oftentimes. It's quite frustrating. Wives do this as a matter of course. You know, they use this as a regular manipulation. Girlfriends out in the world, or women that are trying to manipulate you who you do not have a relationship with, this is a great way for them to get to know you and to figure out what they can get from you and how they can pull your resources from you. So just kind of have your radar up when you're out, if you're meeting new women. If your wife pulls this shit on you, you know, it's probably time to talk to somebody like a lawyer or a therapist, because she's definitely trying to manipulate you. This damsel in distress routine it's almost a cultural meme. It just happens so frequently. you've just got to be on the lookout for it and see it for what it is. It's just a manipulation. It's just about victimization of herself and pulling on your natural characteristics to be defensive, to help, to sacrifice yourself, to do whatever is necessary to fix the problem. And we men just fall for it every single time. I hope that understanding these kinds of dynamics in relationships will help you guys set more healthy boundaries so that you can identify what kind of women you want to be with, and you can decide whether you want to be with a woman at all. But when you start identifying these things, you start seeing these behaviors, it will serve as a red flag for you that this person either has some serious character flaws or behavioral flaws, or maybe even personality flaws, problems that they need to get help with. Certainly not someone that you want to have in your life on a regular basis, because these are the kinds of things that turn marriages and any long-term relationship into pure hell for men. And you just want to avoid them at all costs. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you know a guy who lives with a woman or has a woman in his life that uses a lot of these techniques, please share this video with him. Maybe it'll help him make some decisions on his own behalf that will remove him from that situation. All right, you guys, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.